All right, we continue to track developments from Operation Sindoor. India struck 9 targets in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. What is the significance of these targets? My colleague Haim breaking that down for you.
Thank you so much, Raisha. In a calculated high-tech operation, the Indian Armed Forces executed Operation Sindoor, deploying long-range standoff weapons to surgically neutralize 9 terror facilities inside Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Not a single Indian jet crossed the LOC or the international border. No military targets were hit. No civilian lives were endangered. But the message was unmistakable. India strikes back hard, precise, relentless. Now let's take a look at the 9 terror targets destroyed inside Pakistan. 4 targets belong to Jaish-e-Mohammed, 3 Lashkar-e-Toiba and 2 Hizbul Mujahideen. Let's take a closer look at the 9 targets here. To begin with, this was in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Sawai, which was targeted, the Sawai Nala, as you can see, 30 kilometers from the LOC. Training center of LET, Sonmarg, Pahalgam attackers were trained here. So this was the first target. Again in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, Muzaffarabad targeted JEM terrorist launchpad. It operated as a weapons jungle survival training center. That's what it served as. Then comes Kotli Gulpur. It is again 30 kilometers, about 30 kilometers from the line of control. It is the LET Fidain base. Rajouri Punch terrorists were trained exactly here. Again from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, Bhimber was targeted, 9 kilometers, weapons IED handling training center. Bhimber served as weapons IED handling and a training center. Then comes Kotli Abbas, which is about 13 kilometers, 13 kilometers from the line of control. Again, LET Fidain base. If we were to now talk about all of the targets in Pakistan, Sarjal Sialkot, which is about 6 kilometers from the international border, training hub for terrorists, 2025 March, Jammu and Kashmir. Cop killers were trained exactly here. Targets in Pakistan again, Memuna, which was targeted. It is about 18 kilometers from the international border. It served as a Hizbul Mujahideen training camp. Pathankot attackers were trained here. Then we have Muridke. That's about 25 kilometers from the international border. The 2008 Mumbai attackers were trained here. It served as the headquarters of the Lashkar-e-Toiba since 1990. Hafiz Saeed plotted the 26/11 terror attack here. Let's now shift our attention to Bahawalpur. That's about 100 kilometers from the international border. So as I mentioned earlier, that is Muridke, and then we come to Bahawalpur. That's about 100 kilometers from the international border. It served as the Jaish-e-Mohammed training headquarters and provided a base for indoctrination. And it's about a few kilometers from the Pakistan military base. So this is what we know of the 9 terror sites which were targeted in India's Operation Sindoor. Back to you, Raisha.
Right, thanks, Haim, for giving us that detailed information about the 9 terror targets. To talk more on this and on Operation Sindoor, we are now being joined by Lieutenant General Satish Dua, Chief of Integrated Defence Staff, to the Chairman of the Chiefs of Staff Committee of the Indian Armed Forces, and also he is a former 15 Corps Commander in Kashmir. Welcome to WION, General Dua.
Thank you.
General Dua, first up, I want to ask you about the fact that you have served as the Corps Commander of the 15 Corps during insurgencies in Srinagar, and you were also the Corps Commander during the surgical strike in 2016. You are familiar with the terrain there. The targets that India struck were not shallow. 9 terror targets were wiped out. They were deep inside Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. What kind of message does this send out? And talk to us about the significance of the terror targets that India wiped out.
So, Raisha, like you yourself pointed out, during 2016, when we launched a surgical strike in response to a Uri terror attack, those were shallow strikes at the terrorist camps close to the LOC, 2, 3, 4 kilometers. But in 2019, when precision airstrike took place at Balakot, that was deep inside. beyond POK actually. But this time round, when the terrorists have actually killed tourists, unlike the previous two times where the strike or the military response took place first and it was announced later. This time round, the Prime Minister, the Defense Minister announced that we will take harsh measures, of which the diplomatic, Indus water suspension, diplomatic measures, political economic measures were announced and implemented. But it was also announced that we will have a military response soon, in which we will not only go after these terrorists who perpetrated this carnage, but we will also attack their backers, their terror ecosystem across the border. And that is precisely what has been done. The message is clear. We have attacked 21 targets in these 9 locations, and all of them are terror headquarters or terror hubs or some training camps, as just now we saw him bringing it out very chronologically. So the targeting has been exactly what was said as the target of headquarters, the hub, the terror ecosystem. And it is non-escalatory. By that I mean not a single civilian has been targeted, no collateral damage. We have not targeted any military installation or establishment. And by that is why I mean it is non-escalatory. Because now the onus for escalation then will rest on Pakistan.
Right, General, I was just coming to that. Like you also mentioned, it was perhaps a precision strike. That was what Operation Sindoor was. And there's a cloud which is looming as to what happens next. I just want to apprise you that in response to the Indian strikes, the Pakistan Defense Minister has said in an interview that if India backs down, we will wrap up this tension. At this point of time, do you think Pakistan will go through the escalatory ladder or in a de-escalatory mode?
Well, while it remains to be seen, let me just look at the options Pakistan has. Pakistan has to react, that's for sure. How much will they climb the escalatory ladder is the question. They have already started the usual heating up of LOC, targeting of targets across the LOC. They've actually targeted civilians, and we are hearing the sad news. I'm told the figures have gone up. The death casualties on our side have gone up on the LOC in the Rajouri Punch area. But that is one response all along the LOC. They have to do something for their domestic audience. But on the other hand, what is their capability? As far as ammunition holdings are concerned, as far as money in their pockets is concerned, they are in no position to wage a conflict, a war. So it remains to be seen, on one hand, how much they wish to sort of escalate or not. And on the other hand, the kind of pressure they will come under from the world bodies, notably US, because they control these world bodies. And now Pakistan lives on a sort of a monthly payout from IMF. So we have to look at the dynamics there. It will be a very different kind of dynamics. And if you allow me, I just want to say something else connected with
this.
Yes, please. The water issue has sent shivers up their spine. We are already seeing the kind of visuals that are coming out of Sindu, the kind of crises that it has created there. The Pakistan army is not viewed very favorably today as far as the public is concerned. There were rumblings earlier, and that is why their army chief wanted to do something spectacular, something like this, to consolidate power and things like that. There's a different dynamics at play. So we are likely to see combined effect of all these things. They will have to factor all this in as a response. It can also serve to aggravate their response because if Pakistan and India go to war, it rallies the population around the army. So we really have to wait and watch.
Right, General Dua, like you also mentioned that Pakistan does not have the wherewithal to fight a war. And just a few days back, there was a report which came out that Pakistan can only fight a war for 4 days. You also spoke about the global pressure not to go into an escalatory mode. At this point of time, what will take Pakistan to realize that perhaps diplomatic solution is best for them?
somehow I feel that when it comes to India, Pakistan is known to be irrational. Because what we are talking of is a rational response as to if they don't have the wherewithal, should they really go for it? Similarly, they need the money for which the West will apply pressure on them. But it remains to be seen how much they balance between these two, because China is also not come out openly in support of Pakistan. The Chinese statement is pretty watered down. While it condemns the attack strikes from India, but it says we must find our own solutions. It is not the kind of statement that we would have expected. So Turkey is another country which has supported Pakistan by sending an aircraft, by sending a ship. But otherwise, the world response is, while no one is lauding India to have done it, but everyone is fed up with the epicenter of terrorism that Pakistan is, and they are calling on for restraint on both sides.
Right, my last question to you, General Dua. You did speak of the importance and the significance of the 9 terror targets which India wiped out. Do you think that with this precision strike, with Operation Sindoor, India has clearly called out Pakistan's nuclear saber rattling? Because we have seen the past few days how Pakistan went on with its nuclear bogey and nuclear rhetoric.
We've been calling their nuclear bluff earlier also, even in Uri, which was the shallow strikes over the LOC, we call their nuclear bluff. But certainly in Balakot, because it was a deep, it was up the escalatory ladder. This time it was precision air strikes, fighter strikes. So then also we call the nuclear bluff. But this time more so, because we have launched strikes deep inside Pakistan. Remember, Punjab that is in Pakistan is the heartland, and we've actually struck those terror hubs and camps in Punjab. 4 of 4 locations are in Punjab. Muridke, as you were also bringing out, is just 30 kilometers from the border, but it's also just 30 kilometers from Lahore, which is a big population center and one of the center of gravity. So we also have to look at the fact that we have also sent a message to the population of Pakistan that let not these terror centers and hubs be very close to population centers, because if you do that, we have a situation like that's ongoing in Gaza.
Right, my last question to you, General Dua. Do you think that this Operation Sindoor was a deterrent, or can we expect more such operations from New Delhi targeting terror camps in POK?
To my mind, we've done what we wanted to do. And unless Pakistan now ups the ante, we will not engage from our side until it is in response to something that Pakistan does.
Right. Thank you so much, General Dua, for taking out time and joining us here on WION.